to what you were pointing out, Grubby, became even scarier for a team like Roll20 down the line because of, Banner of Dalaran, which actually isn't the most common choice, but being able to power up all your members around that for the blow-up. Eventually, Roll20 kind of cottoned on that was continuing on, but and they played it very, very patiently, so kudos to them.
One really cool thing here is Brightwing's level 13 talent as well. Yes. Not taking Ice Block. We heard Dreadnought talking about it. Western teams, it's greed, really. Trying to get more value out of your basic abilities makes for better sustained, prolonged fights. Whereas Ice Block, 1 minute cooldown, save yourself once, but for the rest, there's no other value. Yep. So defending that Banner of Dalaran with that very timely Pixie boost, which gives spell armor and now physical armor, was going to be absolutely key. And they pulled it off. Credit where credit is due to Roll20.
But as you said, Jay, you're playing devil's advocate. You think that Ballistix is going to come back out strong here in the next map?
I think they'll come out strong, but this is a heavily momentum-based team. Shades of Fnatic from last year, where it was just like you saw so much energy from that team, and they feed off of this exciting crowd that we have out here. So we'll see how they do.
Let's find out where we're going. Game number 2. Which battleground will it be? Roll20 takes us to Tomb of the Spider Queen.
I think this is a mistake by Ballistix not to choose a larger map. I mean, their go-to map has obviously always been Dragonshire. It was banned away by Roll20, so not available here. But to give them this smaller map goes back to what Ballistix saying this is a best of 3. That's the scariest part. And then you put yourself on Roll20's maps. You might go out 0-2 here.
How fast does Medivh get banned is the question. We're going into game number 2 as we go into Ballistix is trailing 1-0 against Roll20 esports.
In 5 best of 3s, Ballistix has banned Medivh in first spot 3 times now. 3 out of 5, and now 4 out of 6. Very heads-up ban suggestion there, Kalaris. Yeah. I really thought Ballistix will be choosing the battleground as well, Wolf, and I thought they were going to go to Sky Temple.
Yeah, a map where you could get control early. You can take that control away from your opponents. It's a heavily picked map in HGC Korea by Ballistix, by MVP Black. They're going to try to, again, draft towards this standard high-tier hero pool like they did in groups, not like we saw in game number 1 where they grabbed the Tyrael first. They're taking a much safer approach.
Yeah. I feel like right now we could potentially see the Garrosh. There it is, instantly right away. Now, the thing about this, I want to talk about the Tassadar ban in particular. Tassadar has dimensional shift, can get away from things like that, has the mobility. Furthermore, it also empowers a Vala, which SCSC in Heroes of the Storm, we talk about Korean mechanics. He is the epitome of mechanics, the single best Vala player in the game. He plays that a lot on this battleground, taking away the enabler.
And the image that they portray normally on Tomb of the Spider Queen, they force their opponents to ban Medivh against the Garrosh pick on their side.
Yeah, there's so many cool elements and dimensions to it. I love it as much as you guys here.
I feel like, one of the stories of the leveling up of the West, obviously we had a new league format this year, had more matches played, more strategies available to learn and play in general. I feel like it's always been kind of mechanics versus strategy in terms of Korea versus the West. Now that the mechanics have risen up for the West, we see these strategies working more and more often. And you've got this mental edge now over Ballistix forcing this Medivh ban, for example. And that's why the West, I think, is doing so well in this tournament.
Just so. Genji now comes out, Uther. So you have that Dragon Blade together with the 3-second long Divine Shield invincibility. This is strong, but it's not per se a Tomb of the Spider Queen go-to.
Guys ready for a Chromie pick?
By who?
By Roll20.
Yeah. This is an odd pick to me because we've seen so many times in Korea double support Genji. We've even seen triple support Genji. We've seen it on this map. But it's shocking to see this type of pick against a Garrosh, which in Korea is considered to be one of the counters to play like Murd and play like Genji, because of the anti-dive potential it gives. If you use your aggressive movement options to attack, Garrosh tosses you, you don't have an escape, you don't get that reset.
Ooh, damn.
Yeah, you have Warlord's Challenge. So far, Genji up in front to melee. Warlord Challenge could get a lot of taunt value.
Well, let me point out at the beginning of this series, the percentages at the bottom were reversed.
Quite a bit, actually. All right, so Roll20, obviously we know what they do with Garrosh. We've got that. They go Falstad. We do get the Chromie pick. The Falstad one is probably the most surprising to me here.
Yes, very surprising indeed. And it kind of makes sense because it's disengaged with Mighty Gust against Genji hard engage. And it isolates Genji if he draws the Divine Shield, so he'll be all by himself. Still, this is a high risk pick by Roll20. Make no mistake, because Falstad's health pool is low, and Genji loves to eat Kentucky Fried Falstad.
I mean, he certainly does.
Wait.
Like, Dragon Blade.
I'm from Kentucky, Grubby.
Are you?
You scare me now.
Do you like chicken?
I love chicken.
So, like, you better first ban Genji against Grubby. You hit him on Hero League. But I completely agree. It's risky, but it can be. It's high risk, high reward in the series where you're up 1-0 in the series. I think they have the opportunity to draft something that can give them some big bursty shields. Like, I wouldn't even be surprised if we saw Lucio locked in as the 5th pick. You have the shields to protect against the Dragon Blade. You need to have that disengage against that burst damage. If you can live through the blade from what we have set up right now for Ballistix, you win the fight.
The Lucio pick, I think, will be particularly interesting. I like that Greymane in there for SC, but I really wonder if we might see the Stukov again. I imagine we'll see the 3-2 split here coming out from Roll20, use the 3 to rotate top mid, and then have that Rhaegar be able to split there. Instead,
D.Va!
Well, this is interesting. We've seen some great D.Va play out adjusting, but mostly with those split push strategies we saw on War at Junction, for example, where the D.Va gives you a second life bar to just continue shoving, gives you a larger boss control, which can be strong on this map as well. Really interesting draft here. We all see the double DPS. It's not just going to be that hard carry Genji, so it's no longer about the Dragon Blade only.
D.Va. D.Va has been picked twice.
Yep.
Once by Roll20, once by Team Freedom, I believe. They got picked on mercilessly. I like how it worked. It was a good pick. It was special. It has a lot of power. So many dimensions to D.Va play. But the execution in both cases wasn't there yet. In order to make this D.Va play, Roll20 is going to have to execute better than we've seen D.Va played at this tournament so far. But it's very cool.
They can reposition the bomb with Garrosh, right? If they.
Yes. Yes.
wow.
Theoretically.
Here, catch.
Yeah.
Into
You
the
guys
fray, level
both
7.
have to work on your basketball form. I'm not kidding. It is absolutely
Okay,
I'm
let
the
me try.
shortest person you've ever worked with apart from Gillyweed. I'm never going to play basketball.
Joe, can you shoot a hoop for the camera for us?
Wolf, show us what a dunk looks like.
I'm not going to show
This
you what
is-
a dunk looks like.
Show us what a dunk looks like, Wolf.
Here's how.
Here's what a dunk looks like. Slam dunk right on your head.
Here's
All
how.
right. Oh my.
Not quite what I was expecting.
That's ridiculous. I think our commentators are ready for the second game. Maybe, who knows, as we try and figure things out here. So we're almost ready to go over to them. There we go. Hey, guys.
We're ready, but I'm not ready to forgive you, Caleris. I resent that. We've got a D.Va!
We have a D.Va here. North America's still bringing out what I feel like we might be able to play D.Va for our own. We're one of the only regions that still consistently play it here, and Roll20 is going to rely on that to do what North America has been able to actually say for themselves since Cloud9 won BlizzCon 2015, that they are going to make it to past the round of 8 all the way here to the top 4. Granted, they have to win this game if they're going to make it there.
It all starts here. We've got Tomb of the Spider Queen, so let's head into game 2 with Roll20 leading 1-0 in this best of 3 over Ballistix.
Down a game, but they are not out. It is your defending BlizzCon champions, Ballistix. SC is going to be on Greymane. Hooligan on Muradin. Jung Ha will be playing Leoric. Genji played by SDD, and Swoy on the Uther. Let's hear it for Ballistix!
And they may just be Giant Slayers in the red. Glaurung playing Falstad, Buds on Rhaegar, Goku playing D.Va, Prismaticism on Chromie, and Justin playing Garrosh. Let's hear it for Roll20! Roll20 has brought in so many of what we consider to be NA strategies. Cheese or not, they have taken us to Warhead Junction. And now they are bringing in a strategy from a team that's already been eliminated, Team Freedom, known for Nasmus's D.Va now. It's Goku who will be rocking the D.Va here in this game.
The guy I'm going to be keeping my eyes on specifically, other than Justin on the front line, his Garrosh is very, very scary. Prismaticism. The amazing performance he had in the Gul'dan in the last game, and now he is on not only one of his best heroes, on one of her best maps. It's just, I'm expecting him to kind of carry the momentum. We got cyber agility, you know? It's Genji, okay? We got a deflex, we got 2 dashes. I'll let you know when things are gonna get scary.
But on the topic of that, Genji, it's important to bring up here for Ballistix that Ballistix are running 2 heroes that SCSC is known for playing, both the Genji and the Greymane. So now it's up to SDE to flex over to that Genji, and no doubt that SDE will be able to deliver. He's already shown us a leap over the wall, but it is still something to keep in mind for the team fights of Ballistix.
SC maybe cut out too far. Longo barrel rolls over the wall, and Ballistix turn it around. That is going to be first blood for them. Members of Roll20, you see them trying to get the response, but it is just a little bit too little too late here.
Yeah, and that's what the analyst desk talked about, is how squishy Falstad can be as a solo laner. For them, wanting to keep Falstad in top, D.Va in the bottom, and then have the rotations looking for picks from the other 3 of Roll20, Glaurung has to be cognizant of how quickly he can fall to the damage, the sheer damage output, along with the crowd control between Muradin and Uther that Ballistix has.
And one thing that I really enjoy about the pickup of the D.Va, specifically into that Genji, whenever you know you have that kill target, the defense matrix interaction, the predictions you can have there, it's always one of my favorites. Beyond the fact, you know, as we've talked about before, the opportunity to be able to use the into the fray with that mecha explosion. Either way, Goku's going to have to make, you know, a pretty big explosion here in this game if Roll20 is going to take another game over the Titan that is Ballistix.
Yeah, it's so interesting to see Roll20 now flex D.Va into 2 different players on the team. Justin was playing it, but that was more of a cheese type strategy, yeah, when they played it before, with Justin playing that up against Team Dignitas. But now here you can see it's more of the solo laning, her ability for safety in the lane when she is playing against that Leoric. So far, Ballistix has had the better end of the turn-in game. They've gotten 12 of their gems turned in, and are slightly being able to just have the lead in rotating between the turn-in points directly, which shows you that they are having the control over that mid-bot or mid-top rotation.
And one thing that I'm going to be heavily keeping an eye on for Roll20 is how they're going to approach these gems. North America struggles, to say the least, with Tomb of the Spider Queen in identifying win conditions effectively. Not only just against other North American teams, but also especially when they bring this to the international stage. I want to see how proper do we see Roll20 when they get a turn-in. How much does it gain them? How much does it really net them in value? Because we oftentimes see North American teams, it feels like almost just put the gems in because they're more afraid to lose them than necessarily make a play with them. And that is what I need to see of Roll20 if they're going to do what North America, again, has not been able to say they can do for over almost 2 years at this point.
Yeah, even earlier today when we saw MVP Black versus Team Freedom. Team Freedom gave a turn-in when MVP Black were just about to get heroic abilities and had Ragnarok so they could defend versus that really easily in that set. Team Freedom just so far behind. That has been a problem point for teams from North America in the past, but it's also a battleground where Roll20 feels very confident. This is a battleground where they shut out MVP Black at the mid-season brawl. So it's a good place to start in what might be them being able to get another 2-0 victory over a Korean team.
Gilly, I know all the fans here are backing Roll20, and then obviously you and I, it would be nice to be able to see Roll20 do well, you know, North America growing, but I hate to remind everybody, yes, Roll20 did end up getting that a shutout versus MVP Black, and then MVP Black proceeded to let the exact same draft happen and straight shut out Roll20 the opposite direction. So yes, there are moments of glory here for North America. As we have a, you know, a bit technical moment there for a second. Hooligan splits over.
And it is down. First kill for Roll20 as they flip over Hooligan.
So
the gems still being in favor of Ballistix. They've used this time to get most of what is necessary for their first turn-in.
See if Roll20 wants to spend the man advantage time here to try and concentrate on the turn-in. SDE uses one jump. Going to go ahead and use that Swift Strike away. The members of Ballistix, though, actually getting a couple turned in up on top now, can claim 43 for their own, even lock in a Web Weaver phase to boot.
So Ballistix being able to rotate to the top, even though they did lose Hooligan, will give them the blue Web Weavers. And now we see the defensive capabilities of Roll20. Now Boomerang is here, that's going to help a lot for Falstad. There's a great wave clear for Rhaegar. Chromie has taken Mobius Loop so that she can try to have more Dragon's Breath up so that she can get the wave clear there too. It's just if we see D.Va forced to use self-destruct as a means of being able to bring down these Web Weavers.
Yeah, there's two kind of self-destructs, you know? One that's, I'm just trying to save my own butt here, and the other one where it's like, I'm trying to make sure that you are no longer going to exist in this world. Web Weavers, though, the damage being done here for the members of Ballistix, we're going to force the mech on top. I feel like this is a fair trade for Roll20. It's going to deter center, a lot of pressure towards top. Middle Web Weaver was dealt with on as well. Bottom is the only thing to show concern for.
Yeah, bottom is a problem. This lane sustained damage earlier on. Jungha avoids the pulse.
He missed.
He's like, I'll just toss you in then.
If he ends up hitting that Drain Hope, he actually has an opportunity to be able to survive that by missing that. Roll20, great punishment there. Does come at the cost of a fourth, though.
Yeah, not a lot of waves clear here, and the focus that was focused on taking down Jungha. So at least Ballistix gets the fort, and that nets them heroic abilities a little bit faster than Roll20 gets.
Roll20, though, has enough gems for a turn in. There's the Entomb. Goku is going to try and throw down the thrusters. Dwarf toss from Hooligan into the fray. Value dragged back from Justing. But Ballistix here. Web Weaver phase down, and the fact that Roll20 was able to kite around that initiation without heroics and not lose anything is a very big win for them.
Yeah, and when you say anything, you mean 32 gems, because Goku's holding on to a lot, and that is so much in the bank, so much of the bank of Roll20 sitting on little Diva. Yeah, you're right.
It's pretty much about, it is about all that Roll20 has for themselves. But this shows the decision-making here. What I was trying to highlight about North America with Tomb of the Spider Queen and their approach to it, Roll20 is showing that restraint that I was hoping to see from them. Yes, they just now are going to get their hooks. If they end up dying and losing those gems, it's not going to be good for them. But their thought process and decision-making of when they're trying to force a turn in and when they are not is very different than, again, as you put the case example of Team Freedom here versus MVP Black. Flip onto Leo.
Immediate taunt as he's throwing him in, so he steps out, but he turns around and has the Entomb, and now Goku's in danger.
SDE actually got the Swift Strike in. It forced the cleanse as he gets the Cyber Agility out. Glaurung got the flight down, but unable to force a fight, get on the backside, maybe use a gust there.
Both teams trading blows. Hooligan gets hit by some sand as he wants to go away, then dismounted again. Chromie is a very annoying to deal with. What I'm looking at here, though, is nuclear option for Diva, something that we have not seen. Makes the timer 3 seconds longer for self-destruct, but a lot more damage.
Meaning the cross synergy, you know, with the Into the Fray play here is going to be very real. If Garrosh Justing there is able to get up to Goku's mech and toss it into the members of Ballistix, it is going to do a lot more damage. It is, I mean, 50% or more, depending on how tanky, beefy of a hero you are.
Yeah, it does really feel like Roll20 has put everything on the line into that bomb, doing as much damage as possible because they have Warlord's Challenge. They have slowing sands to keep people held down too. Even a potential gust into this. Here goes a self-destruct. A long time will Roll20 have the control of this turning point. Oh!
Into the fray, thrown over the wall. No kill game. Taunt being dropped onto Justing. He go ahead and brings Swoy into the backlines. Ancestral lands there for Justing. But look at the front. Diva. She gets out of mech.
She is sliced through by Genji as SDE rips through Roll20, taking down 2.
Wow, Ballistix there was able to turn that around so very effectively. And now Roll20, though they get the Web Weaver phase, they do have the heroes to be able to siege up with it, Gilly.
That's what we were talking about. That's a rough point for Roll20 and something that Ballistix were able to take advantage of. Making sure that they had that Entomb and taking out Diva after the self-destruct, recognizing that that was used just for the control of the point, allows for this quick cleanup for Ballistix and an essential waste of gems for Roll20.
Yeah, at the end of this Web Weaver phase, we're going to find ourselves to where the members of Roll20 are rounding about 50, so it's not too far away from the opportunity of a turn-in, but definitely not enough to get that double turn-in approach that we see teams oftentimes aim for whenever they struggle to get the first Web Weaver phase. And as you see for Ballistix, they have themselves a lot of gems remaining. A flip on to Jungha, but just follows up with a Wraith Walk.
Yeah, and there's the follow-up in Tune 2, keeping Justing away. There's the Gust separating Hooligan from the team. And even without 13, Roll20 takes out Hooligan.
Sometimes you build a wall to keep the opponents out, and it ends up keeping your ally out. That's actually the second time we've seen an Entomb body block one of the members of Ballistix, and I feel like either Jungha or at least the synergy onto those Entombs needs to be a bit more calculated here on the members of Ballistix. Earlier it happened around mid-fort, specifically with SDE dashing in. He had to burn 2 cooldowns just to walk away from what he thought was a winning trade.
Yeah, and this is not a place to not have that synergy on lock because Ballistix are down 1 game in this best of 3 to North America, and the specific North American team that already took out Tempest in the group stage. But Ballistix have the experience advantage. They've had 13, and they'll get some Web Weavers.
Web Weaver's here, but the 13 talents here for Roll20, they can essentially now do the exact same thing you saw Ballistix aim to do during the Web Weaver phase. Wait for the missed position, hard initiate, dive past the objective, be quick, effective with your team fight, and then get a free clear elsewhere onto the map. So where are the members of Ballistix deciding to group? It looks like mid or top are going to be the focus.
Setting up in the mid. Goku does not have self-destruct yet. It's almost there. A lot of damage put on him. Trying to bring down that tanky health bar.
I really want to see Falset try and get a flight onto this mecha explosion. A flight gust would be huge here. Is he going to go for it? Glorong, not yet to show the transfer down. There it is!
There it is! Into the explosion!
SDE!
SDE's gone!
He's out of here! He gets blown up by the members of the Drag! The Entomb is there, trying to zone out them all. Hooligan gets the Dwarf Toss, and he's going to be just fine.
Goku chasing in, and it's Hooligan who seems to be the target, but the team will turn, taking down Junghao. A second kill for Roll20!
Roll20 showing why you cannot siege into a Falstad. Obviously, the mecha explosion is something to be worried about as well, but you always have to reconsider, where is the Falstad? Can I deal with the fact that I might be gusted all the way into my opponent's base? Roll20, they show signs of life here on Tomb of the Spider Queen, but they are still down in structures. And as we know, on Tomb of the Spider Queen, structures, wave clear, damage on siege is really usually all that matters.
This team was so patient with this engage, tossing in, and then they had the gust. And there was just not enough Divine Shields in the world to save all the members who were hit by that. But as you mentioned, Dread, the problem was that Web Weavers were sieging the entire time. Roll20 did get 2 kills. And if they can continue to get those kills, the respawn timers will get longer enough that Roll20 can actually do something with that. But unfortunately, at that point, all they could do was go back and play defense even after winning the team fight.
And we have to bring to light as well the idea of Pure 4 Ballistix. This synergy between these two heroes is very different than something they've experienced into the past. And so I do view this very much as a fool me once type situation, Gilly. If they are to make the same mistake here, I feel like it is very unlikely. We are at BlizzCon, at the HGC finals, and you know, the unique flavor of North America usually catches everybody off one time, and then that is the end. So will Roll20 still be able to cheekily play around that mecha explosion, the Garrosh into the fray, and the Glorong's Gust?
Yeah, the Korean teams are known for their adaptation even in the middle of a game, and this is something that they just need to adapt to. So what would you say is the biggest thing that Ballistix needs to do to make sure that they avoid the same kind of engagement?
I mean, the biggest go-to, I would say, is obviously keeping track of your fall set. That's number one, but that's not always something you can truly rely on. You know, if your opponent's pressuring out things a bit too far, you can't always scout it out. So the next go-to would be just ensuring the fact that if there is going to be a gust, that it only hits targets that are effective taking the fight. Junghao would be a biggest one, to make sure he's okay, comfortable taking that gust into the team, Wraith walking away, or even if he goes down, that's all right. But the rest of the members, they need to remain split. You cannot let Genji nor the Gray Man get gusted in, take too much damage, or if they do, you could just draw out a forced Divine Shield.
Well, the bank of Roll20 is getting higher and higher as they have not been able to turn in, but they are just about to be 16. Which means as Ballistix Web Weavers continue to push down the lanes, there's an opportunity for another Gust Bomb explosion from Roll20. There's the 16 of Roll20. Ballistix move to the mid.
Hooligan hits a stun over the wall. Nobody wanting to move up onto that one. Rayman is sieging up on top, so the members of Roll20 know that they have an opportunity here. But Glorong is dealing with that bottom Web Weaver. All three have just fallen about to the 50% HP. Normally you want to hyper-focus on getting one down so that they can't, especially as they walk up to these keeps, get that much value. Glorong, though, out too far. That's a barrel roll interrupted.
There's a couple of stuns there. Gust used, pushes Hooligan in, but less than what Roll20 were wanting from that, and forcing the Gust is just enough for Ballistix already. With every single fort down, with Keep Towers taking damage, Ballistix gets a huge opening with this 2-level lead.
So what are we going to see Ballistix decide to do now that they have turned in so many gems? Boss looks like it is their main focus.
Yes.
Because Gust is down, not having the opportunity to be able to move up here. But I do want to bring to light that Mecha explosion is a thing that can be timed around this objective. I feel like this boss call was a smidge risky on the side of Ballistix, and it looks like they're agreed. They're going to try and aggress on to Roll20.
Yeah, they will unleash the boss there and just move on to see if they can get a kill instead on somebody from Roll20, but it was Goku in front. Goku had the self-destruct ready. The very least, Ballistix can try to stun out Goku and then maybe make sure that he pops out of the mecha without using the explosion. That may still be a target. It worked for Fnatic.
Yeah, I did end up working for Fnac. I was going to say, you know, maybe like you just go for the wild haymaker, kick it out there, and it's just like, oh, well, we got ourselves a sad avatar. Yeah, that is the only way. I feel like they can deal with it. When the mecha is there on the ground, ready to make things happen, if you do not have the HP to deal with it, you just don't have a good time here for Ballistix. But they're fine, even though all these gems are sitting in the hands of Roll20. They've been there for a long while. They haven't been able to really make anything too much happen with those. And with the aggression and flanking that we see now that all 3 forts are down, Ballistix gets to pick whatever fight they want.
There's the taunt. Gives lots of time for the damage from Prismat. Throws out. They get it. They get the kill on Jungha. That's the moment that Roll20 needed. This was the time to get aggressive before 20 was here for Ballistix, but it was just a Leoric.
Yeah, Greymane actually got the camp on bottom, so if they can stall this out, it's going to be a problem. With mid and bottom pressuring, and it's a Leoric. He's back far faster than that 30 seconds. Interrupt not there. Flip onto Uther. Swoy's in a bad spot, taking a lot of damage. Forced Divine Shield.
Yeah, use Divine Shield, and that helps him run straight through the slowing sands. But there's going to be a gust on Swoy. They can't get to him. The pole doesn't connect. They're going to throw over the explosion. Does some damage to SDE and the fort.
But now that's not going to be used to be able to zone off for the members of Roll20. And as I said here, look at the mid and bottom. This Webweaver phase, because so much pressure was put out by Ballistix, it doesn't even matter that it exists. It's going to lose so much HP just to skedaddle on over to that middle lane. The taunt up on mid. Avatar drop here for Hooligan as he goes on to Priz.
Yeah, so what would be much better is if Roll20 could get some kills. Bots has to throw it an early Ancestral because he's about to go down. And Garrosh follows. Goku's going to pop out of the mech, uses Torpedo Dash, trying to get behind the wall. But SDE gets the reset, takes out Diva, and that's a 3rd kill.
Roll20 has 3 Webweavers, but losing 3 heroes. 20 advantage over to Ballistix, and I am confident that they are going to be able to open up this map, because when we lose these Webweavers, they are grounding what is going to be a tournament. We know the top boss is there, and more importantly, Roll20 is miles away from 20 talent tier.
Roll20 has shown their hand with the type of composition they were going for. But in this instance, Ballistix are good for some good old-fashioned damage as they wreck Buds.
SDE, he's just popping off throughout this fight, then getting the body block onto Goku, making sure that even though Hooligan ended up getting by that time trap, he had enough single target damage and focus with Ballistix to get that kill for them. So here we see the boss taken by the members of Ballistix into the downtime. Conveniently for Roll20, they are not going to have a Webweaver face, at least immediately, to follow up onto this.
Yeah, it's still a little ways out. And the lanes are pushed as such that Ballistix does need to move forward and being able to gather the gems from those waves. So Ballistix is putting all their focus into having 20 ahead of Roll20 and having the boss here. But it's sieging versus the Roll20 composition that's anti-siege, so let's see how it works out for Ballistix.
They do not have a Mecha Explosion available there for Goku, so no huge play. And Tomb actually whiffing as well. Flip onto Uther, no Divine Shield. Oh, he gets it off at the very last second. Hooligan, though, moves up, hits the stun onto Goku and Fred's. Gorong! Oh, he gets the Ancestral and the barrel roll. Roll20 held on.
They did hold on, but they are going to lose this keep. Do they lose the game right now? Because they're still long way from 20. There's the double stun, but it's Rhaegar goes down. Buzz has died. Now Justing's in danger.
And now we see the boss going on to the core. Another member of Roll20 drops. Stormbolt lands on a Glong. STDE goes in, gets a reset. The mecha is there, but it does not look like it matters here. The members of Ballistix are going to send us over to a game number 3.
Ballistix holds off, only falling 1 time to the combo of Roll20, otherwise doing exactly what they needed to do to hang on in the series and tie us up 1-1.
As I said before, it feels like that composition was a bit of a fool me once situation. And Ballistix says, fool me can't be fooled again. They're able to hold this off, stall it out here, and bring it back to game number 3. That being said, like the last series when we're reflecting over what happened when North America claimed to game number 1, Roll20 looks far better transferring over to game number 2 here. So I do remain, slightly optimistic towards North America's last hope.
And Roll20 will have the choice of first pick or battleground choice. So whatever strategies remain, whatever NA flair Roll20 can bring to the previous global champions of Ballistix, now would be the time to bring it out. Now's the time to put all the cards on the table.
We're going to go ahead and send it over to our analyst desk to get a couple more thoughts on that last match.
That's right. It seems like Ballistix walking up here in this game, although it wasn't without its dangers, it wasn't without its scares. We figured that there might be a little bit of throwing action. I'm not even going to try it again. With that bomb from D.Va. It worked out a little bit to start things off, Grubby, but in the end, it wasn't enough here for Roll20.
Yeah, I mean, we took a very cool level 7 talent here, nuclear option on for D.Va. So you actually add 3 seconds to the 4-second detonation period, making a 7-second period, but it gets a lot stronger.
Yeah.
But there's also more reaction time. So you really need either to use Into the Fray Garage Throw or Mighty Gust to make it work. And, you know, like the Cats has alluded to, Ballistix wisened up. We have one of those moments. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, we saw a few moments where there were some overextensions from Ballistix, and this might be one of the moments you're alluding to. So
possibly. As we jump in here, this is actually a moment for Ballistix as we go into the replay, because the D.Va mech was used to get the turn-in, and we saw this time and time again, that the turn-in, pause for a second here. If we just roll it back 2 seconds, we see that Falstad, you know, Falstad is not in any danger. He's afraid for Garrosh. As we roll it forward again, he's gonna end up using Mighty Gust a little bit early, actually before Entomb comes out, because he was afraid for Garrosh. Another cool thing here that happened is that Garrosh was Ancestral Healing here, you know, and it ends up saving him, so it wasn't as necessary to get that Gust that early. It actually allows the Entomb to disable for a longer period of time than was strictly necessary. Glaurung had the position possibly to move forward a bit, delay the Mighty Gust a bit, but this comes down to communication. Ballistix, in the meantime, they did amazing. They recognized that the D.Va mech was no longer available, and you know, they went for it. They went for the play with Leoric there, with Jongha going for the flank. Now, Jongha, you know, he's not just facing one opponent. There's also another much less discussed faction as we roll this replay. Here you see that gank on Jongha. If anyone is about to die, it might as well be Leoric, I guess, because he comes back quickly. But still, the way he died, I'm just going to put a bit of a spotlight, because this is minions in their glory. They don't always get a lot of limelight, but here we are with a bit of
I'm glad you could bring us that one, Grubby.
Should I have added that one?
No, I mean, yeah, that was fine. I enjoyed watching the minions.
minions do damage. People forget about it. What are you going to do? Maybe he didn't have enough distance to get out there. Felt pretty bad.
That's why they call them minions.
Yeah, exactly. I thought there was some cool moments from Roll20, some good reactions to the Entombs. We saw them punish some of the aggressive play. We saw it at Jongha specifically there, forcing the Gust into the Entomb, using the Entomb against Ballistix, and some heavy dives into that larger explosion you were talking about. So I feel like at the end of the day, Ballistix wisened up. But I think a lot of this comes down to Roll20 not capitalizing on the lead they had, not continuing to turn in, playing a little bit too passively, which they're not known to do. And Ballistix just won the longer game, taking those better late game fights.
The whole thing about that, and it's always a matter of like, all right, that's cool, but what else do you got for me? And it wasn't like it was a bad composition. We've seen Falstad on there. We've seen their Chromie all the time on Tomb, but it really felt like they kind of forgot there was an objective at times, because their turn-ins, they ended up dying twice right after turn-in. We saw another mech explosion try to get value, and it just wasn't there. It seems like they just didn't get the dividends out of that to be able to do more. I don't even think they took down a single fort that game, but I imagine they'll probably have some more tricks coming up as well. So we'll see what they do next game.
Maybe. We have one more game left to go. Ballistix fights back. They bring game number 2 under their control. We'll be back with the